All right, in the chapter, there are several spreadsheet exercises. And as mentioned here, spreadsheets can be used to automate many of the calculations we've looked at in previous exercises. So the first spreadsheet will be for automated shift encoding. So let me show you how to put this sheet together. You can put it front and center like this. So you go ahead and start up your Excel. And let me find my Excel here. Under Office. Sorry, the response is not good when it's recording. And you can use another spreadsheet program as well. What we're going to do is fairly generic. Okay. All right, now you probably don't need the cell so wide. Let me zoom in a little bit also because I want to show you what I'm doing. Okay, that probably should be good. Now the way to narrow up the cells is to click on the corner up here, and then you can just drag the edge. Let me see if I can get it there. Drag the edge of the cell and move it like that. And it will move all the cells together. Okay, so you don't need big wide cells. All right, so let me go back and we'll look at the, actually let me make this a little bit skinnier. Because I don't need all of this. And I'll put this on one side. We'll work on one side and we'll see the text on the other side. That's probably good enough. All right. So we want automated shift encoding for English. Let me just type that in to the first cell. So I'm going to go ahead here, click on cell A1. And to do boldface is up here. You can see the icon B. I'm going to type automated shift encoding for English. Okay, good enough. All right, now, first thing we need to do is to give the shift. Let me just recall again how this works a little bit. What you do is you convert your letters. In this case, I have hello. You convert your letters to numbers. And the way you convert the letters to numbers is using a table. For instance, here H is 7 because if I have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I start 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. H corresponds to 7. So I convert each letter to a number. Also, E is 4, for instance, because in this table, A, B, C, D, E goes to 4 in the second column. All right, so after you convert the letter to a number, then you shift the number mod 26. As you can see here, H was 7. The shifted version is 22. And I got Excel to do this automatically for me, and that's what we're going to show you how to do. All right, then the 22 corresponds to the letter W. Okay, so the actual ciphertext that you would transmit is WTAAD. Right. Now you also want to make sure that everything's right, so you're going to do decoding as well. So you change the ciphertext back to numbers, then you shift it back, and then you have your recovered text, your recovered plain text. All right, so let's see how we can do this in Excel. Now first we're going to have to specify the shift. So I'll call this a shift here. Okay, shift, type that. And the shift in our case is going to be, I'll do 15. I'll do exactly the same that they have there. All right, now, in order to create this table, you can see, let me just follow the steps here. It says put the alphabet starting with A, and numerical values for the letters starting with 0, and the alphabet again in columns A, B, C starting on line 5. So let me just go ahead and do that. Now in cell 4 here I said tables. So these are the tables that are used for encoding and decoding. So in the first column I have, I'll use capitals here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, whoops, that one didn't work, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay. All right, now I did that wrong, so that should be a T. Okay. All right. Sometimes Excel has automatic features that are kind of annoying. All right, now we know that the numerical values of these are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's an easier way to do this. I'll show this to you later sometime. 23, 24, 25. We go up to 25 and we're right with Z. All right, now according to the specification, we also need to put the letters in column C. And the way you do that is by copy and paste. I can go ahead and select all of the letters here, starting with cell, this is cell A5. You see that row is labeled 5 and the column is labeled A. So in order to select this entire column, you can drag the mouse. I find it's easier to hold down the Shift button and the arrow. If I hold down the Shift button and the arrow, then I can just move down like this and select all these cells. T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, so I've selected all of my cells. Now I can find copy. Copy is this little icon up here. I can click on that. And then I'm going to want to paste that starting in cell C5. So I move over to cell C5, and then I can click on paste up here. And it's just a regular paste, so I'll click like that. And there we have it. Okay, so now I have my tables, both the letters and the numbers. Okay, so that's the first thing it told me to do. All right, so now it says type your plain text in row 5 starting in column F. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Row 5 is here, starting column F is here. So my plain text is hello, so I'm going to type H, E, L, L, O. Okay. Now notice I'm doing all capitals. If I have capitals in my tables, I'm going to have to make my plain text also in capitals. All right, now then what it tells me to do in part 4 here, it says row 6 beginning in column F contains the numerical values for the plain text. The formula in cell F6 is, and then you just type this verbatim exactly how I have it in the sheet here, and I'll explain to you what this means. All right, so this is going to be equals Vlookup, and it says F5, and then $A, $5, colon, $B, $30, comma 2. Okay. And let's see if it worked. Okay, now what does this mean? All right, VLOOKUP means it's a table lookup. I'm going to use the tables that I have to look up a certain value. The F5 means that the value I'm looking up is in cell H5. And you can see cell F5 is outlined in blue, and the value of that is H. Now you also need to specify what table to look up this H in, and that's the green here. $A, $5, $B, $30, that indicates cells A5 to B30. And you can see that that's the part of the table over on the left that contains numbers in the first column, letters in the second column. Now the reason for the $sign is that that's going to be a fixed table. No matter when or where I look up letters, I'm always going to be looking up in that table. The $sign A means I always start in column A, no matter how I move this formula. $5 means I always start in row 5. The $B means I always end in column B, and $30 means I always end in row 30. So I'm always going to be referring to this same table no matter how I move this formula around. Okay? So now we use one of the most important and useful functions of Excel is the fill capability of Excel. I'm going to take this formula and I'm going to copy it and fill it to the right. Why? Because I want to look up H and E and L and L and O. I want to look up all of those letters. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to select. Again, I like to use the mouse. I'd like to use the arrow keys to do the selection. So I'm going to hold down the Shift and select right. All right, now I have to look for the fill. So give me a second to find the fill. It's this button up here, this button with the arrow on it, and I click on the down arrow there, and I want to fill right. So we'll fill right there. Now look at what it did. It copied the formula in the correct way, and you can check. E is 4. If you click the first two columns, that did correctly give me the formula for the letter, and I've correctly assigned the number to the letter. Okay. Now, what I'm going to want to do in the next row is to shift these numbers according to the shift. All right, and that's described in the document over here. We're going to use modular arithmetic, which is why this function here is mod. And we're going to take the value in the cell above and add it to the shift. Now the shift is also with dollar signs, $C, $2, because that's going to be a fixed shift no matter where I do the shifting. And 26 is my base, so I'm always going to do base 26. All right, so what I do here is I type in this cell equals mod, and I'm going to take this value here, F6, plus, and then I'm going to take B2, $B, $2, and that's going to be mod 26. Okay, so I get 22. Very good. Now I'm going to shift this to the right. Remember, I hold down the Shift key and type the right arrow to get as far as I need. And then go up here to the down arrow, and I fill right, and that gives me my new numbers. Okay, so I have numbers, but in my ciphertext I want to have letters. So I'm going to have to do again a lookup. Now you can see why now I have 3 columns in my tables, because I have to look up letters to give me numbers. I also have to look up numbers to give me letters back again. So I'm going to do the same lookup that I did in the first case. So equals, and this is Vlookup. Now what table am I using now? I'm going to be starting at cell B5. Okay, so I'm going to put $B, $5. That's my first cell. Now my last cell is in column C. So I'm going to put $C, that's the last column, and I happen to know that it's row 30. And you can see I forgot something. I gave the table, but what I have to do first is to give the value. So let me click in here if I can, and I'm going to move back. The value I'm looking up is going to be F7. So I have to put F7 here. That's the value I'm looking up. I have the table there that I'm looking up. And then let's see. And I think that, is there anything else that I need? Oh, and I'm looking in the second column of that table, so I need column 2. Okay. Whoops. All right, so let me do that again. All right, now perhaps you can see what I did wrong here. If you look at the formula that I typed, I have a comma between the $B5 and the $C30, and that was incorrect. That should be a colon, because that's the range of the cell array that I'm doing. So if I do that, then I get W. And I want to fill this to the right, so I use my arrow and Shift to fill right, and then I go to the fill down, not that one, the one above it, and go to right. Okay, and there's my encoded message. All right, now in the text here I also have some words that indicate what these are. The way you do that is you go here and you grab the edge here, and I can type this. This is going to be plain text. Whoops. And then this is a numerical, and then this is shifted, and then this is going to be ciphertext. Okay. Right. Now, to do the rest of the cells here, it's going to be very similar. You're basically going to do the same procedure. I'm going to leave that for you. I'm hoping that this gives you an idea of how to construct these spreadsheets. Okay. So next video we'll do a different spreadsheet, and see you then.